Good morning, children. Sai Ram. I again welcome you all to the online class of economics. Children, today I am going to start the next chapter of our book, Indian Economic Development. That is chapter number 3rd, and the name of our chapter is Features, Problems, and Policies of Agriculture. So, children, this is your first video of this chapter, and in this video, we are going to learn the importance of agriculture in the Indian economy, features of Indian agriculture. Thereafter, we have learned the problems of Indian agriculture, agrarian reforms, and achievement of agrarian reforms. Achievements achievements of agrarian reforms, that is green revolution. So children, let us start with our first topic, that is the introduction of agriculture sector. Children, as you all know, agriculture is the backbone of the Indian economy, and agriculture is the most important occupation for most of the Indian families. In India, agriculture contributes about 16% to 16% of India's total GDP and 10% of total exports. So that is the reason that India secured the second position worldwide in terms of farm output. This is very important to understand that the India secured the second position worldwide in terms of farm output. And about 75% of India's population are living in the rural areas, and still they are dependent on the agriculture. So about 43% of India's geographical area is used for the agricultural activity. So you just find that how that a large area of India's population is engaged in agriculture, and do and the major density of India's, you can say, uh, the major areas, the geographical area of India is used for doing an agricultural activities. So children, as you all know, during the pre-British period, the condition of Indian agriculture was also not at all satisfactory, and India's economy under the British colonial rule was overwhelmingly rural and agricultural in character, and nearly 85% of the country's population lived mostly in villages and derived livelihood directly and indirectly from the agriculture. So even with the large proportion of India's population engaged in agriculture, but the country was not self-sufficient in food and the raw material for the industry. So let's have a short introduction about the agricultural sector in India, about an agriculture. So children, the total geographical area is 328 million hectares. The net area shown is 142 million hectares, and the gross cropped area is 190.8 million hectare. Net irrigated area is 56.9 million hectares, and it provides food to more than 1 billion people, and it produces 51 major crops. So I mean, in our country we are producing 50 major crops, and it contributes to 1/6 of the world of the export earnings. So contribution of export is again 1/6 part from the agricultural sector. Next we have the role of agriculture sector in India's economy. Now in this topic we are going to learn basically the importance of India's, I mean, we are in this topic we are going to learn the importance of agriculture in the India's economy. So, children, when we talking out basically the importance of agriculture in the country's economy, then the agriculture, then the following points can be come into our mind. So agriculture is of critical importance in the Indian economy. This fact is highlighted through the following observation. Now, the first one is yours, share in national income. So, children, as you know, agriculture makes a significant contribution to the GDP in India. You all cannot deny that during the period of planning, contribution of agriculture sector to GDP has been ranging between 51 to 17.4% for different years. It has tended to decline over time from as high as 51% in 1950 to 51 to 14.4% in the year 2018 to 19. So now when we have started economic planning, the contribution of agriculture towards the GDP is 51% in the year 1950 to 51, which goes down in the year 2018 to 19, remains as 14.4%. So, however, this decline in percentage contribution of agriculture to GDP does not indicate the decline in the importance of agriculture in the economy, but it often occurs owing to relatively faster growth of secondary and the tertiary sector of the economy. So, the share in the national income, although, as I just said, the share of agriculture in the total national income has been gradually decreases on account of the development of the secondary and the tertiary sector. It still contribute about 18% of national income in the year 2006 to 7, but in the year 1950 to 51 it is nearby 59%. So this was the trend. But if you see in the year 2018 to 19, the latest trend says that the contribution of agriculture sector towards the country's GDP is only 14.4, it is 14.4% in the year 2018 to 19. It is not like we are giving the less importance to the agriculture. As I just said, it means that the secondary and the tertiary sectors are basically grooming up, or it's like you will see there is a faster growth in the secondary as well as the tertiary sectors of the country's economy. So here you're watching that in the year 1950, 1960, 70, 80, 1990, 2000, 2010, this particular line graph is showing you the percentage contribution towards GDP. If we're talking about in agriculture, that is the primary sources, the secondary sources, as well as in the territory sources. So the agriculture has been representing with the green line, and you're watching that this series graph is going down like this, and up to the year it is remains 14. So this is show that the contribution of agriculture towards the GDP is reducing year by year. But if you see the trend of let's say the industrial as a service sectors, it starts from this and it is moving up. You see the service sectors, it is going like this, and you're watching the industry sector, it is going like here. So you find that there is a trendy growth in the service as in the industrial sector, that is secondary in the tertiary sector. Next, we are going to learn the sources of employment. Children, sources of employment, you can see that in India, agriculture is a significant source of employment. Over 50% of working population in India is engaged in agricultural sector. So children, almost 50%. you can say that countries population, the working population is engaged in agriculture. So it implies that agriculture is the primary sources of substance for most of the people in India. So in India, agriculture is the main sources of employment. And if you see in the year 2004 to 5, more than 56% of working total labor force is engaged in agriculture. This has been the values, the trend which has been given by the government sources. These are the basically the values or the percentage which has been supplied by the government publishes. So it becomes evident from this fact that other sectors of the economy could not generate enough employment for the growing population. Next is provision of food grains. Children, agriculture in India has played an important role in meeting almost the entire food needs of the people. The production of the food grains in India has increased from 51 million tons in the year 1950 to 51, and for now it becomes in 2005 to 6 it is 208.3 tons, million tons. So just because of you can say the increase in the various with various resources, we have increased the production of food grains as compared with the two in the year 1950 to 51. So what basically it implies, this has enabled the country to overcome the problem of food grain shortage, and the country is almost self-sufficient in food grains and no longer depend on the import of food grains. So just because of this just because of the agriculture, we became self-sufficient and we don't need to import the necessity food grains from any foreign countries. Next we have supply of raw material. This 2 points is over. Supply of raw material to industrial sector. So children, agriculture sector is an important sources of demand for the industrial goods, particularly the capital goods, and tractors, harvesters, machines are demanded exclusively by the agricultural sector. So thus the agricultural prosperity leads to industrial prosperity. So many industries like cotton industries, sugar, jute industries basically depends upon the agriculture for their raw materials requirement, and moreover workers engaged in the various industries depend on the agriculture for their food grains requirement. So next we have the market for the industrial product. Children, agriculture provides market for the large number of industrial products. Since about two-thirds of India lives in the rural areas, there is a large rural purchasing power which has created a large demand for all type of industrial products. So since, as you all know, all the raw material has been all the major raw material has been supplied from the industry from the agricultural sector. So that is why there is a large rural purchasing power which has created basically a large demand for all types of industrial products. And in this one, children, green revolution has considerably increased the purchasing power of the large farmers in the recent years. The green revolution is basically one of a big achievement in the field of the agriculture, and you all must be knowing that green revolution refers to large increase in the production of food grains due to use of high yielding variety of seeds for like HYV seeds. In green revolution we have introduced or we have used some high yielding varieties of seeds, and we find that there is a spectral advancement in the field of the agriculture. Next is honor of foreign exchange. So, through the export of agricultural commodities like tea, cotton, coffee, jute, fruit, or vegetables, spices, or even sugar, oil, etc., in the past, export of agricultural products accounted for about 70% of export earning from the country. So this you can find from this, like these are the top 10 agriculture exports and imports in the year 2000, in the year like 2008. 8. Next we have the significance for trade and transport, children. You can say agriculture, significance of trade and transport. Agriculture in India offers a crucial support to the transport industry as well. Children, both railways as well as the roadways are basically the bulk carriers of farm products in India, implying that agriculture is a significant source of demand for the transport industry. So various means of transport like roads and railways get bulk of their business from the movement of agricultural commodities and the raw materials. Next we have sources of revenue from the government. Children, through the direct contribution of agricultural taxes to the central and the state government, it is not significant that this gets a significant part in their total revenues. And in terms of land revenues, children, irrigation charges, tax imposed on the commodities which is purchased by the cultivators, etc. Then the central government also earn revenue from the export duties. So these are basically the conclusion of agriculture to overcome all views, like India has always been beneficial by the agriculture, and through the future of India is industrialization. Though the future of India is like industrialization, the contribution of agriculture would always provide a vital for making India a powerful and a stable economy in the future. Next, we are going to learn the features of Indian agriculture. So, children, this topic is already explained you in the previous chapters also. In the first chapter, I have explained you the features of Indian agriculture. These are the following principal features of Indian agriculture. The first one is low productivity. Children, the productivity as well as the production of India was extremely very low as compared to the advanced nation in the world. If you compare the production of India in terms of rice, wheat, and maize as comparing with these countries, you will find that India is lagging behind with the other foreign countries. So the features of Indian agriculture was again low productivity and low production. The productivity means the output per hectare of land, whereas the production refers to total production. So both the production and the productivity were extremely very low. So production refers to the total output, while the productivity refers to output per hectare of land. So both productivity and production were extremely very low on the way of independence, and you can better understand this low productivity as well as the production with the following table. You're watching the productivity, we are comparing here the productivity as well as production of some important crops in the year 1947 with the year 2018 to 18 to 19. So the productivity in 1947 is only 660 kg per hectare of land. I mean, in the year 1947 we are producing only 660 kg per hectare of land. This was extremely very low in the year 1947, as we are comparing it with the year 2018 to 9. In the year 2018 to 9, the production of the productivity of wheat is 3,408 kgs in per hectare of land. For rice also it was 665 in the year 1947, but now in the year 2018 to 19 it is 2665 in the year 2018 and 19. This is the production of per kg in the kg per hectare of land. If you see the total production, it is 9 in the year 1947. It is only 64 lakh tons in the year 1947, which is now 991 lakh tons in the year 2018 to 19. For rice, it was 220, but in the year 1819 it is 1150. This is basically a sources which is given by the D Bhattacharya in the economic survey 2018 to 19. So if you compare with this, you are watching that both the productivity and rice were extremely low. The productivity of wheat was nearly 5.2 times lower in 1947 as compared with 2018 to 19. The productivity of rice is again 4 times lower than in the year 1947 if we compare it with 2018 to 19. Likewise, the level of output of wheat was nearly 15.5 times lower, and for rice it is 5.3 times lower in the year 1947 if we compare it in the year 2018 to 19. Next is high degree of uncertainty. So children, agriculture show a high degree of uncertainty because it was excessively dependent on rainfall. As we all know, in the during the British rule, we do not have the permanent means of irrigation. We have to be dependent basically on the rainfall for the water availability. If the rainfall was good, then our crop was good, our output was good. But if there was not a proper rainfall, then poor rainfall implies basically the poor output. So in that duration, children, no efforts were being made during the British rule to develop the permanent means of irrigation. So this leaves as this leaves as the backwardness in the Indian agriculture during the British rule. Next one is our dominance of subsistence farming. Children, the Indian agriculture was again backward in this stage, as the farmers was taking mostly as a means of taking farming as a means of substance. So substance farming is basically a form of farming in which the crops are produced to provide the basic needs of the family. So we are not producing in a much bulk by which we can sell it into the market and will get earning. So there is a little surplus left for the sale in the market, implying a lack of commercial outlook, and accordingly backwardness prevailed and poverty dominated everywhere in the agriculture. Next, there is a gulf between the owners of the soil and the tillers of the soil. So, children, agriculture during the British Raj was categorized by a gulf between the owner of the soil and the tillers of the soil. Children, this I have already cleared that the farmers will be considered as the tillers of the soil, whereas the zamindar were recognized as the owners of the soil. So, the zamindar were in intention to pay less, or he has to submit less amount as a lagan to the Britishers, and they are free to exact as much as money from the tillers of the soil, that is farmers. They were in intention to maximize their rental incomes or in terms of share of output, but they were seldom share the cost of the production, but they were only interested to share the output which is produced by the farmers. So this left the tillers of the soil, I mean the farmers, merely enough for substance. They are obviously going into the in depth of the zamidaris, and the zamidar are trying to exploit it, are always trying to exploit as much as they can. Next, we have a small and the fragmented holdings. Children, land holdings were both small as well as fragmented. And fragmented holding means a piece of land here and a piece of land there. So, accordingly, most land holdings were uneconomic yield, low output at a high costing. Next, we have a land revenue system under the British Raj. Children, I have already explained you that the British government in India introduced a unique system of land revenue. It set up a triangular relationship among the government, the owners of the soil, and the tillers of the soil. So this was properly known as the Jamidari system of the land revenue. As I just said, Jamidars were recognized as the permanent owners of the soil. The Jamidars were to pay a fixed sum to the government as a land revenue, and thereafter the Jamidars were free to extract as much as from the tillers of the soil as they could. So this implies that it implies that an unlimited exploitation of tillers of the soil by the Zamidaris, that is farmers. Farmers are being exploited unlimitedly by the zamindars, and the rate of the land revenues were frequently raised by the zamindars, which led to the frequently eviction of the tillers of the soil. So, in this way, children, the backwardness of the tillers means that they had no means a little interest in improving the agriculture, while on the zamindars led a lavish lifestyle and spent all their revenues income on the luxuries of life, and improvement of agriculture was totally neglected. And at last we are going to learn the forced commercialization of agriculture. So children, commercialization of agriculture refers to a shift from cultivation for self consumption to cultivation for the market. So the farmers were forced to shift to commercial crops like indigo, basically from the conventional substance crop like rice and wheat. The reason behind this forced commercialization of agriculture is because the Britishers find that India is rich in the raw materials, and if they buy the commercial crops from the India, and when they export it to their own country, then their products, this raw products, can be converted into the finished goods, and again they can import these goods into the Indian market, and they will give a big competition to the Indian products. So this was their intention, and for doing so, they have given they have the they have convert the substance crops like wheat or rice to a shift to the commercial crops like for indigo. Like indigo is basically was required by the textile industry for in the British for dyeing and bleaching of the textiles. So the Britishers has forcefully shifted this substance crop into the commercial crops. The farmers were either forced to accept either the advance payments, and for doing so, the farmers are being forced to accept the advance payment for the cultivation of indigo, and the farmers are left to and it exposed to the uncertainty of the market. And while doing so, children, the perpetual indebtedness of the farmers and perpetual stagnation of the farming, perhaps perpetual means long lasting, indebtedness means the debt of the farmers have been increased day by day, and it also increases the backwardness, the stagnation condition of farming. So this was basically the features of Indian economy, of Indian agriculture. So, children, that's it for today's video. And in this video, what we have learned is, we have learned first the agriculture of Indian economy. We have basically learned first the features of India's agriculture. Thereafter, we have learned first the importance. First, we have learned the importance of Indian agriculture, and we do have learned the features of India's agriculture during the British rule. And we have learned all the various points which explains that the condition of India's agriculture were backward and stagnant. So, children, that's all for today. And in the next video, we are going to cover up the next topics of this chapter. So, thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day, and Sai Ram.